Dan, let's start with Jerod Mayo. And the reason I wanted to do that is because, as we talked about last week, there was so much surrounding him in relation to his job status after a tough performance on the field in Arizona against the Cardinals. Much better showing against the Bills, even though they do ultimately lose that game. How does he feel right now coming off of that loss against Buffalo? What has he said to you and the rest of the media?
Yeah, he didn't want anything to do with, a good effort, just coming close type of stuff after the game. He was very quick with the media and all of our questions after the game. And he was, just didn't seem happy. He was a little bit better on Monday, just kind of saying he appreciated the effort from the guys. And, one or two plays might have been the difference in the football game. But I think he's just trying to, take the approach that any head coach takes at this time of the season. Let's focus in on the next game as soon as this one ends. And we'll go from there, and then we'll sit down at the end of the season and where we're at. And that's the big question, Joe. I mean, most of us feel that he's going to come back. We may see changes in the coaching staff, but I think for now we feel that way. But I think he's just trying to coach and win every single football game. And, I think the one thing that comes out of that, at least from the players' perspective, is that they played hard for him. I thought Arizona was the most disappointing game of the season as far as effort is concerned. They just didn't seem to have it. Nothing seemed to go right for them, and they kind of got down about it quickly in that game to Arizona. I thought the opposite in this one. They took it right to the Bills from the start, and I thought it was a fun game for everybody, and I thought it showed the players maybe sending a message to the front office and to the craft saying that Jerod Mayo is our guy, and we're going to play hard for him. So there's been no quit. There's really been not much said negativity. There's not much negativity in the locker room about Jerod Mayo as far as the players are concerned. They like the way he's progressed. Even talking to Kendrick Bourne the other day, Marte Mapu just saying that he's kind of grown with them as the season's gone on.
Yeah, and I thought it was really encouraging to see and hear from the players after the game. And we heard Drake Maye say it's BS, all the criticism that's been thrown Jerod Mayo's way or Alex Van Pelt's way. I want to hit on Drake Maye in a moment, Dan, but one part of that game that was troubling on the offensive side of things was Rhamondre Stevenson fumbling twice in that game. And he's now the only NFL running back with 7 fumbles in a season since 2020. What has Jerod Mayo said about his role moving forward here?
I think he mentioned the fact that, we may see a change, and that would be Antonio Gibson, who was, he told me that he slimmed down during the season, actually, and is in the maybe better shape than he was at the beginning of the year. And he's also now, he stopped maybe feeling sorry for himself, not getting the amount of carries that he wanted and everything else. So he's had a refreshing attitude the second half of the season. Maybe we'll see him to start, but I think that they all, know Rhamondre Stevenson is a big part of their offense. And I kind of give him a pass going back and looking at that play, the wide receiver or the running back, the little throw out screen down by the goal line. I thought Drake maybe should have thrown that to the ground, which he did several other balls that day. The defensive lineman easily beat DeMontre Jacobs on the right side to get out to him. It was coming at him hard, and then the ball was kind of thrown into his face and helmet. So I give him a pass on those types of plays, but he's got the fumbles and what have you. So. It's there, and it's certainly going to be something that will be addressed, I'm sure, by Jerod Mayo and the coaching staff in the offseason for him to make sure that he takes care of it. But I think we may see Gibson start, and then you'll see Stevenson as we go.
And Stevenson talked about it before the season, saying he wanted to be the feature back for this team, but obviously it's been a tough go at points this year. I want to shift gears to Drake Maye, Dan, and ESPN's Ben Solak, who writes for ESPN.com, he wrote this week that Drake Maye has been the most impressive rookie quarterback. He gave flowers to, of course, the other rookie quarterbacks. It's been a great class this year when you think of Jaden Daniels, what Bo Nix has been able to do in Denver. Of course, there have been flashes from Caleb Williams, and now Michael Penix is getting start with the Atlanta Falcons. But would you agree with that assessment that among all the rookie quarterbacks that Drake Maye has actually been the most impressive of the bunch?
Well, you can make a case for Drake because of the lack of offensive line, right? When he was thrown in there, we saw with Jacoby and him. And the way that he's been able to battle and do a real good job, run the football and everything else. I would go with Jaden Daniels just for the sense of, what he did even last week against the Eagles in the comeback for Washington. He's had it and has it since he started and, from day one here. So I think they're neck and neck. I think Caleb Williams has been fine. I think Bo Nix has been real good, but he hasn't been asked to do a ton in Denver for Sean Payton. So, but I think they're 1 and 2, and I would say that Jaden Daniels has maybe had the better rookie season than Drake, but it certainly has been encouraging for Patriots fans. I think you have your franchise quarterback of the future going forward. So I think everything that you wanted to come out of this year with Drake Maye has come out of it. Now, to me, I think the future bodes well and maybe even better for Drake Maye because of the body frame of Jaden Daniels and how he plays the game. He's a running quarterback, and yes, Drake's a running quarterback to some extent, but not like Jaden Daniels. So I think you worry about the injury factor when it comes to Daniels. But overall, Joe, I'd give him an A and maybe give Daniels an A+ as far as quarterbacks go, in the rookie class of 2024.
What did you think of the way Drake Maye handled things after that game against Buffalo, where his comments did hit on what his coaching staff has kind of had to deal with on the criticism side of things this year?
I don't blame him. Everybody hears it. You're around it all the time, and he's the quarterback. He hears those types of things. So I think, if you're happy, you're going to defend. And I think he's a respectful kid, 22 years old. I think, I don't think he would ever bash a coach. It just seems like he comes from a good family and well-raised. And I think he's a staunch defender of Alex Van Pelt because if you look at it, what was the number one thing Patriots fans wanted to see or needed to see coming out of this season? And that was the development of your rookie quarterback. So I think Van Pelt's done a tremendous job. And he may be worthy of coming back. And your coach is going to get criticized, heavily criticized, all the time now in every single sport. Play calling, everything else. Has Alex Van Pelt learned from day one to day, whatever we are now in the season? Absolutely. Has he made mistakes? Absolutely. And he's even admitted that. But the most important thing is the development of Drake Maye. So Drake's going to defend him, and he's going to defend Jerod Mayo. Jerod has had his back from day one. And I think that they feel like that they deserve to all come back. Now, will that happen? Who knows? But again, if I'm Drake Maye, I think he's been pretty happy, and especially with his development here so far. So I think he's defending his coaches to the hilt. And why not? You're the quarterback. You're the spokesperson for the team. And I think that's the other maturity part we've seen in this rookie campaign for Drake is he's taken the reins as kind of the spokesperson for this football team. Another part of that leadership and development of your quarterback.
Yeah, and the Patriots seem to have a great one in Drake Maye. Again, only a rookie, obviously, but the sky's the limit. Nice to see the leadership aspect from him after that game against the Bills. I want to hit on Kayshon Boutte, Dan, because everybody has tried to remake the wide receiver room for next year, and for good reason. This is a group that I think in you total it all out, it's toward the bottom of wide receiver groups in the NFL. But Boutte did have a career-high 95 yards and 5 catches in that game against Buffalo. Also, a 28-yard touchdown reception from Drake Maye, off the throw from Drake Maye. Do you think that Kayshon Boutte has solidified a spot for next year among this wide receiver group with what he's shown?
Absolutely. I think if you look at guys that, you're going to pick and choose from both sides of the football. And, realistically, you have to bring back guys back. I mean, people will be like, let's get rid of this guy, the whole team, da-da-da-da. No, you have to bring guys back. And I think Boutte certainly has established himself, in his second year. I think, we think of the drop in the bucket touchdown against the Houston Texans from like 40 yards. We think of the 28-yarder from the Buffalo Bills and a beautiful throw again by Drake Maye and a nice catch in the end zone by Boutte. I think he's done everything you want. And, is he a number one receiver? No, but he's a good number 2, 3, 4 type of receiver that they'll need in the mix. So, what's been frustrating from my perspective is we keep hearing we want to see the young players, Joe, all season long. And we have yet to see Javon Baker and Jalen Polk emerge as legitimate wide receiver NFL candidate threats to be good and be better as they go forward. So I think we clearly established that the top 3 wide receivers in a year where they're trying to develop players has been Pop, Kendrick Bourne, and Boutte. And out of those 3, I think the best feeling you come out of this season with is Boutte because of what he's able to do and how he should be able to continue to grow in that relationship with Drake Maye.
Yeah, we'll see how that develops here for the coming years. Dan, before we let you go, I want to hit on the team that the Pats are going to be taking on Saturday in the Los Angeles Chargers. What stands out about this team under first-year head coach Jim Harbaugh outside of the pregame ritual that Harbaugh and Justin Herbert seem to do before every game where he smacks the pads?
Yeah, I can not love Harbaugh. He brings that, enthusiasm. The sheer joy of being out on a football field with his football team, whether it be at Michigan, whether it be now with the Chargers. I think you got to love him. And I think what we've clearly seen, too, Joe, is how much coaching matters in the NFL and in any sport, any level. I think, he's come in, he's done exactly, what Brandon Staley and others before him couldn't do with this Chargers team that always said, well, there's a lot of talent here. They just got to develop it right. I think he's shown you exactly what a good coach will do. He's commanded the room. He's established himself as we're going to run the football. We're going to be tough against the run. We're going to be a tough defense to play against, led by Derwin James. Remember that name, Patriots fans, for what you're going to see here Saturday. This is one of the best, kind of all over the place players on defense in the NFL. And he's established that culture that we're going to play a little bit more conservatively than we have in the past, with Justin Herbert kind of throwing all over the place. They run the football. They use Herbert, to keep the chains moving and to also make plays when they need plays. But we're going to win the tight games, and that's the way Harbaugh plays, and that's kind of what you want to see here. So hopefully they get to that level. So I think if you watch, that's a blueprint for how you want a team to play in the NFL. So when you watch him, he to me is one of the best coaches you'll see. So I'm looking forward to them coming here on Saturday to see what exactly they have here. Are they the most talented team in the NFL? No. They're not even close, but they're pretty darn good, pretty darn tough to play against. And I think that's kind of the blueprint you want for this Patriots team going forward starting next year.
Dan, I'm going to start greeting you like Jim Harbaugh does with Justin Herbert before games when you come into the studios. I'm going to just start smacking you all around. You got to get some pads on, so try to protect yourself.
You touch me, you come near me, I'll walk away, Joe. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you as well,
Happy
Dan.
Hanukkah.
Hey, thank you so much, Dan. Appreciate the time as always.
All right, Joe. Be well.
All right, and join us for a Saturday edition of Patriots Game Day. That'll be at 11:30 a.m. here on WBZ and streaming on CBS News Boston. Pats and Chargers kick off at 1, and the fifth quarter show is on TV 38. Again, this is all on Saturday.